Hi, and welcome to the I Am Perfectly Frank podcast. I am Frankie George-mccullough, and the topics we have in these podcasts are intuition, self-fulfillment, and trusting yourself. You'll see that I will be perfectly frank, and please subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform. Hi, everyone, and welcome to I Am Perfectly Frank. Please, if you would like to comment or ask any questions, go to IamPerfectlyFrank.com. Today we're going to discuss tone, and today we have with me someone familiar to you, my producer, Rachel Giordano. I really enjoy having Rachel with me, and I look forward to having more and more guests, although Rachel may still be on, because she offers so much.
Well, especially with
today, Rachel?
Especially with this topic, I'm doing well. Tone is a huge deal and issue in my life. It's come up over and over again. And here's my question to you to start it off. With tone, is it intentional or is it perceived sometimes? If that makes sense. So I was born in New Jersey. I'm Italian. People have said to my face, I don't like your tone. I don't know how to change my tone that often. Is it coming from me, or is it perceived tone, or is it a mixture of both? Where does tone begin?
I would say it begins with you, period. And yes, it can be perceived because of what's happening in that person's mind. Let's go to the other person. First, they come in and they go, oh my God, I can't find this, blah, blah, blah. And you go, hey, baby, it's right over here. Why are you yelling at me? And you're like, I'm pretty sure I was pretty calm about it. So in their mind, anything would have come at them, anything in a reactive tone. And it's this stuff that's happening inside our minds. Some people don't understand the mind chatter inside their minds. They actually have a physiological experience. The tone shows up physiologically because there's so much going on in their brain. They don't feel the thinking. And so the body has this kind of, running. And sometimes when you continue to carry the feeling from the thought, it shows up as physical pain in your body.
So especially when it's stress and anxiety, you're so pent up that someone asks you a question and you don't even realize that it comes off as a tone that makes them feel bad or makes them feel like all of a sudden they're on the defense. I know there's a couple of chapters in the book that deal with tone. Your book, what's the title? Give your book a shout out.
The Man, He's Stupid, and the Girl, She's So Bitch. Relationship Wisdom from My Chaldean Mother.
So just so everybody understands, you were my life coach first before we started working in this podcast realm. And tone was an issue for me in my family, with friends telling me, with my husband telling me. And so I didn't think it would work. Honest to God, like changing my tone with my husband is going to help change our relationship. So I started with how I would answer the phone instead of, him calling me from work on his way home going like, what? You know what I mean? Because you're frustrated with the kids all day or whatever's going on. What do you want? I would be like, hi, honey, how are you? And it changed his demeanor completely. So now when we talk on the phone, he's not scared to call. He doesn't not want to call. He doesn't want to come home. I mean, there's some people that'll go around the block a few times before they come home from work because they don't want to deal with the tone. And it really did. As soon as I started putting it into practice, being cognizant of, my energy that I'm putting out there, and your voice is that microphone, right, for that energy. As soon as I changed it, it really did change that part of our relationship. He's happy to come home now. I'm happy to see him. So no matter what is going on in my day, I kind of shake it off and I make sure my tone is welcoming. Have other people followed this method that you've had in the book?
Yes. So when the name of the book is The Man, He's Stupid, not because he's actually stupid, but men don't think like women. They have a linear place. They haven't absorbed all that stuff in the day to come to tone. They're in the moment. Now, that doesn't mean they don't get tone when they're in that moment. I told you to put the screwdriver back where I got it from. You really need to do that. But if they're on a different subject, Bob walks up and say, hey, Joe, how you doing? I'm good, buddy. I'm good. Thank you. And then he'll go back to that tone with whoever that is. Men are linear. Women are a big circle. They keep all this stuff going on in their brain on a regular loop, on that hamster wheel. And so the reason they're a bitch is because for a man, he can't figure out why you just had tone with him when he just said hello. Like he can't go with what happened 3 hours ago or an hour ago, or, he can't go there. The other thing I want to identify as you shared your experience, Rachel, is people say, oh, you cannot change another human being. And the fact is, by you changing something in your behavior, as simple as and as difficult as that may be with tone, your husband's behavior changed.
100%.
Because and that's really fascinating. Tone, it doesn't matter what age you are. People go, well, I'll get this when I get older. That's baloney. Get it now. It simply requires a observing how you feel. Because I promise you, when most people have that tone and they can observe it, they're like, shit, I didn't like the way that felt. I had an experience this morning. My son struggles with insomnia. He is struggling with getting into school. And he's right. I don't understand him. Last night he had clarity. He was going to go to school. He didn't go to sleep the night before. He didn't sleep at all yesterday deliberately. He tried to stay awake so that he could sleep last night to get up this morning. He couldn't get to sleep. This morning I woke him up. I was so angry with him because he told me he was going to go to school that I said, that's it. I'm cutting you off. You're not going to get anything from me, right? I'm done, right? Oh my God. He got so upset. 6'2", 15-year-old boy comes running up to me and screams at me. And I keep my mouth shut, which is a big deal for me because I want to attack back. Okay. And I know this boy doesn't want to do that. I am so proud of him because he texted me and he said, Mom, I couldn't sleep. You know this. I could not sleep. I would get up. I want to go. I could not sleep. Now, pretty sure I heard him at 2 a.m. I heard him at 3 a.m. because I'm a light sleeper. I responded back, I'm sorry. I didn't even respond back, I'm sorry. I simply said, buddy, I got angry. And he responded back, I love you. That was it. Now, if I didn't attack him first by going, I'm cutting you off, that's it. Right. Enough. I'm not giving you anything anymore. Right? He would have reacted differently.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, does that mean I still wouldn't be upset about the fact that he gave me his word and that I took the time to wake him up? Here's the role I played in it. I had told him 3 weeks ago, if you want to go to school, you have to get up on your own. And you have to be in the car by this time. He said to me, can you wake me up at least 3 times? Yes. Yeah, God. I didn't follow through on what I said. Okay. So what arose from that? You understand? So what arose was I broke my own word to myself and to him. And when we can go back and look at that, right, and then come back in and not apologize, but identify our behavior, then, because apologies don't mean anything. You fucking did it. Right. You already messed with me.
And that makes me think of that big wave now of gentle parenting. You've heard of gentle parenting now, right? Where it's like we don't yell anymore. We speak very clearly and calmly to our children, and we have a conversation without tone and without anger and without frustration. And so there's a big wave of this now, which I appreciate and I like, but sometimes I cannot hold it back. Sometimes it's like, get the out of bed. What are you doing? So I completely understand where you're coming from. So what do we do as parents, as people, as humans, because we are human, to stop ourselves from just going off like that, from that fire being lit, from us having tone that makes other people feel bad?
Listen, the tone may come up. It's about how much it's going to come up. Life is not, I'm a happy person. I love happiness. It's my favorite place. I found the place to choose to be happy, and I'm like, I'm going there. Okay? People say to me, what's your favorite place? Happiness is my favorite place. Do I ebb in and out? Yes. Do I sometimes feel crappy? Yes. Do I sometimes go into bitch mode? Absolutely. Could it happen a million times a day? Yes. Can I pay attention to it? That truly, those words, pay attention. When you can observe after the fact, 10 hours after the fact, 5 days after the fact, the minute you get to the observation of shit, this is the role I played in it, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't observe myself. I didn't slow down. Listen, I'm ADHD. To catch myself and then to slow down in it, it's a pretty arduous task. Although now that I know how to do it, I was able to keep my mouth shut when he yelled at me. I was able to get out of the way, and then I stopped my thinking. When he reached out to me, I was able to be honest and say, I was angry. I was angry. I behaved poorly. Period.
Right. Well, and that goes back to what you also have said to me in coaching and in the book is not just be the observer, because I do think that's important, observe, but also what role did you play in that moment, right? So you're acknowledging the role that you played in your son getting angry this morning.
Right. So for both of us after this experience, and listen, he's 15. It took a lot for him to reach out to me and say, hey, listen, I struggled with sleep last night. I'm not trying to get out of this. I struggled with sleep. I'm like, okay, I get that. Sleep's important. I got out of my way by recognizing I got angry because I got all excited about the fact that he had said he wanted to go to school. Did he want to go? Yes, he did. He wanted to go. And he's probably upset with himself. And I probably upset him more about himself because I came in. Right?
Yeah, well, because kids don't hear, when you say, like, stop doing that, what you're doing is stupid, they don't hear what you're doing is stupid, they hear you're stupid, right? So yes. To him, you getting angry at him when he's already angry at himself compounded that situation for him.
Right. So I'm not saying you're not going to get angry. I'm not saying you're not going to have tone. But if you can catch it, even 10 days later, and come back to someone and acknowledge it, not apologize. Apologizing is baloney because it really doesn't mean I'm sorry I did it. Acknowledge you did it. I did it. I yelled at you. I was reacting, right, to you. You're right. I don't understand. You're right. It's not something I choose. Although that doesn't mean you're bad or wrong because of it. It doesn't mean you deserve to be yelled at and go brain dead. Because whenever we yell at somebody, and oftentimes even for the person doing the yelling or the tone, we go brain dead. Mm-hmm. And what makes us brain dead is all that noise. It's like, wow, that just took over all that space in my head.
Well, and the important part of observing, so being an observer, what does that really mean? To be an observer in your own life instead of being a reactor.
It really is so cool because when you can observe or take responsibility for what you're doing, people are all stuck in all of this intelligence and intellectual intelligence and emotional intelligence. And you know what, people? Everybody's intelligent. None of us are without intelligence. Some of us may have more book learning on a particular topic than some others, but that does not make them stupid or idiot. It just means that's where they're at. So it's getting in touch with you and finding that place of peace. So many people, I still hear it on a regular basis. I have to go meditate. Everybody be quiet. Let me turn on some calm music. True meditation arises in the chaos. Inside the chaos. Fire trucks are going off and I can't find my kid, and you get so anxious you cannot see clearly. You cannot. Hold on. Let me be with the universe or space or create some space or something. just that second, just so that I can start to see clearly. We have the capacity of knowing. You think only I'm intuitive, or only the, 1% of the people in the world, or 20% of people in the world are intuitive? Everyone is intuitive. Many religions have put that fire out for people. They've suppressed it. No, stay down. Many people and their political beliefs put that down. Everyone is intuitive for themselves. Everyone gets a gut feeling. That gut feeling is your intuition. It's yours. So cool. It's yours. Collectively, I believe we are one. Collectively, the power of many of us working together is pretty awesome. Okay, we've seen that a lot in the past couple of years, groups coming together, and it is a pretty awesome experience, but you alone have this. Everyone has experienced, oh, no, I shouldn't do that. I better not turn there. Oh, that feels awful. Or, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm going to walk this path. They're both the same. The thing is, people don't pay attention.
So when you feel that, let's stick with anger, just because I feel like you have tone more when it's anger. Like, nobody cares if you have happy tone. Everyone's like, happy tone is good tone. But like that angry, anxious tone. So when you're feeling it building up, and I've seen you do this, I've seen you take a moment, take a breath, and you just say, excuse me for 1 second, and you just breathe. Putting that into practice, I just want people to know it's actually very easy what Frankie is saying to do, to take that moment, because you feel it bubbling up, right? Sometimes you're going to see red, and like you said, you get those blinders on and you're just like, before that moment, you have that split second. Take that time to breathe and relax and observe the moment. And when you're observing, is your intuition then saying, okay, you don't want to react this way, or whatever it is that's coming to you. Listen to it. Instead, I think all too often we just flip that switch and we're like, "Arr!" And it doesn't feel good to the other person. But what you're trying to say, and I think what you said, is it also doesn't feel good for you. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're doing yourself a disservice, right? So I 100%. Think that was the main reason when I sort of switched my tone with my husband, was it was like a domino effect, right? If he calls me on his way home and I'm in a mood, then it puts him in a mood. Then he comes home and he's more in a mood, and we're not going to want to talk to each other or see each other. Do you know what I mean? But as soon as it was softened and it was appreciative, and I was so happy that he was coming home to me and he felt that comfort, he wanted to come home, right? And I think it happens a lot with spouses, where sometimes they feel like, I don't even want to go home and see her or him. And they do the, let's go around the block a few times so I don't have to deal with the shit.
Rachel, it also affects the people around you, even your neighbors that have not heard the tone and beyond there, because our energy field is large. And so energy is very interesting. We've been through trying to get that frequency up, and when we have that tone, that frequency, that travels far. It travels far. It doesn't have to be another person saying something. It just is energy. And a lot of people pick that up. An empath will go, ooh, what's wrong with me? That kind of thing. So it verbiates out. And that harmony, think about this. When you get into the harmony, in both cases, you create a energy field that goes out. How cool is it just to be you and create the energy field that goes out as peaceful, as meditation, as harmony, as compared to...
Well, and I want people to know how quick it is. It really is just, you change your voice, see how the other person reacts. Just like you said, change your behavior, see how the person reacts. It almost happened immediately. I was like, oh, shit, she's right. It worked. That was too easy. So what do we do? And so now, as we talked about us being the observer, right, and observing the situation and changing how we react, what if someone else has tone with us? Is it okay to say, hey, it sounds like you're going through something right now? Can we come back to this conversation? Like, what do we do when we feel like someone's always having tone at us?
First of all, there's not one way. My way is a way. There are many different ways you can ask other people. For example, this morning when my 6'2", I'm 4'10", when my 6'2" boy came charging in at me after I went, fine, that's it, I'm not giving you anything anymore, and he came charging after me. I'm proud of him because he didn't push me, okay? He came charging at me and yelled at me. I stood there without any reaction, even a bodily reaction, because I wasn't sure what to do yet, okay? I knew I did not want to create that drama triangle. I did not want to engage him. If I give him nothing to engage with, he can't go there. So if I give him that flat line, my body's not going to do anything, my brain's not going to do anything, my mouth is not going to do anything, I'm just going to be still. We don't have battle, okay? We have a reaction with only one reaction, right? There's nothing to battle against. Sometimes I smile. That's bad.
Because you're just like,
right. And they're like, I can't believe you're smiling at me when I'm enraged here. So there's a million different ways. I have before said, I love you. I'm not talking to you until you get calm, and I'll walk away. And they'll follow me. And I'll have to lock the door. And if they follow me, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Now here's an amazing sponsor. Veterans Van Lines Moving Service, helping veterans get into the moving business. 248-889-8888. VeteransVanlines.com. They'll show you how to get it done. Did you know that Align Salon Group is hiring stylists in Michigan? Candidates can receive up to $800 a year as part of their student loan repayment program. For more information, go to AlignSalonGroup.com. That's ALLINE salongroup.com.
I used to be the wife that if my husband would say, I need a few minutes. I need to relax. We can't have this conversation right now. I will talk to you. I love you. Nothing is wrong with our relationship, but I need a minute. I would still, I'd pack. But what do you mean? What do you mean? Why can't we have the conversation right now? We have got to talk about it right now. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. So I've learned to do that. I've learned to just take a step back, give it time. I wish I had known sooner about not having to say anything, because not saying anything is actually saying so much more than when you're yelling back, right? If you just basically say, hey, I need a minute, it looks like we can't have this conversation right now. Do you mind if we come back to it because of how someone's approaching you? I wish I had that information sooner in my life, because I was always very reactionary with everybody in my life, with my parents, with my sisters, with my friends, with my husband. So yeah, it's fascinating to tell people, you actually don't have to react. If someone's coming at you with anger, you can sit, you can walk away, you can say, let's come back to this later. And it's amazing to have those tools in your toolbox.
What's also really cool, both you and I have children, is as you change, whether you like it or not, the children see that. Even if they're in the next room and they can't hear it, they're picking up the energy, right? And they start to do the same thing. Or we catch them and say, wait a minute, hold on. I'm going to step away. I'm going to go get calm so we can talk about this. And you walk away, okay? Now, children they're thinking, okay, she just disciplined me. I'm going to go do what she said, right? Sometimes when they're young, when they're under 10, we got it. When they're over 10, boy, they're going to want to attack back. All of us, none of us want to have the tone in our voice. We really don't. We allow ourselves to get so busy because of expectation. We, put upon ourselves expectation, and then it gets compounded because we think somebody expects from us. And then most people get pissed off when they think you expect this from me, right? Last night, my husband usually does the dishes. I kept piling them in, going, John's going to get it done. And I was like, damn, Frank, that is not very nice. So he had a nap. He came downstairs. I said, listen, you empty the dishwasher. I'm going to go to bed. Although, please don't touch the dishes. I'm going to do them in the morning because I realize that I have these expectations because I'm familiar with the fact that he does them all the time,
Right.
rather than me do them. Okay, so and I realize one of the reasons I don't do them is I hate emptying the dishwasher, right? So, we can catch ourselves in those behaviors. It is up to us. When somebody else catches us in a behavior like that, we get pissed off. You never do the dishes. It's because of that tone. You never do the dishes. Frank, I've never seen you do the dishes. Tone shows up differently for everyone. My husband has a calm tone. Frank, please don't do that. That's a tone. For me, I can't believe you just did that. Really? Did you just do that? Okay. A tone can be in a calm voice. Sweetie, really? Are you, what? Really? That's a tone. Instead of saying, Frank, honey, you always put the plate here and you never rinse it out. Could you please rinse it out? I want you to come here and do it now. I'm not coming to do it now because I'm so used to you doing it. But we don't say that part. We don't say I'm so used to you doing it that I'm just a pig, right? It's not an easy task, but boy, it makes me or you, the individual that catches it, it makes our life so much better. And it's wonderful to see how we affect other people's lives.
Well,
we affect them.
The biggest thing that people have said is you may not control the situation, but you can control your reaction. And it's interesting that you mentioned kids. My daughter just turned 10, and she's like my mini-me. And mirroring, I've noticed now when I ask her to do something, she'll say, okay. Because I used to be like that. I used to say things like that, okay, And now she does that to me. Sophia, please pick up your dirty clothes, put them in the hallway. Thank you. And I'm like, oh, stop. How do I get her to stop doing that?
Well, we're the parent, and we can lead them to water, but we can't force them to drink, right?
Yeah.
There's people will give you a million different ways. I would first try, I'm going to stand here until these clothes are done, or you cannot watch TV, do this, do this, or you could go the approach, you know what? I know how cool you are, and I know that you love yourself, and I'm excited just by that you're going to pick up your clothes. And you know what? I'm going to trust you. I look forward to coming back in an hour and the clothes being picked up. And if they're not, I would continue to go with the bullshit of, empowering them in that way, giving them accolades instead of criticisms, saying, hey, you know what? You deserve this, baby. You deserve this for you. How do you feel now? How do you feel now that you picked up your clothes? Okay, I don't care.
Right.
Well, but instead of going, I'm so proud of you. How do you feel about that? I'm fine. No big deal. And they're going to start to go, yeah, I felt good about myself because I kept my word. Or I did what my mother asked me to do. It's going to take time. We have this discussion on how women allow men, this is anybody that would allow anyone to treat them poorly for them. They never show up on time, or they always leave this particular thing here. As we change our behavior, they cannot help but change. So if you move the hook that you asked them, please don't put it there. If you got rid of that hook, they couldn't put it there anymore. If you move the couch, they couldn't put it there anymore. If you made available to them something else, they could then put it there. And you're not changing for them. You're not changing your behavior. You're not changing your person at all. It's just behavior. What you're changing is behavior that's going to get you the results you want. And then you're doing it for you. And you feel better about your life. And it moves smoothly. We're going to have each other in our lives all the time. This place called Earth is us. And again, something you're going to hear in every podcast, we need each other. How do I allow you in my life and be able to deal with your being the way you were raised, right? Because everyone's raised differently, and that's really where it shows up. And how do I find a way to fit you into the way I was raised, or a new way? How do I find that new way that it all fits so beautifully? And this is, here's my biggest discovery. As we do these podcasts, the intention is for people to see a way. Most people are told a lot of information, how to just get out of the way. Well, what exactly does that mean? Be good to yourself. Well, what does that look like? Like, how do I do that? Is it just not saying no? Is it a tone of my voice? Is it the way I look? Most people don't know the steps between here and here. It's only this much distance, but to most people it feels like miles. We want to show people how to get from this step to 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 this step. What does it feel like? Oh, I'm going to try that step. I like that step. Oh my gosh. And then we forget about it. Then we go, oh yeah, I'm going to try this step. And the more we repeat the step, the more we change our behavior. And again, for the last time, at least in this podcast, the way we do anything as we make these changes, they're going to reflect in everything in our lives, because the way we do everything, anything is the way we do everything. And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us today. Rachel, thank you so much. I have so much fun with you. I really enjoy it. Guys, if you have any questions, please go to iamperfectlyfrank.com. Also, don't forget about the book. You can find it on the website. I look forward to more questions. I look forward to seeing you on social media. Have a great day.
Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us today on this podcast. By the way, at the I Am Perfectly Frank website, you can find information about all the stuff I've been doing for the last 40 years. We treat pain patterns. We are coaches. We do intuitive work. We also do massage. We also help you understand what your pain is telling you so that you don't have it anymore. Anyways, again, check out the iamperfectlyfrank.com website, and thank you for joining us today.